They came for her under the watchful glare of distant stars, a single girl pulled from obscurity to stand before the vast machinery of an empire. The consortium had built its power through fear, domination, and calculated cruelty. To them, she was just a symbol, an example to break the will of those who dared resist. But she was more than a symbol. She was a spark. The girl's name was never spoken on the broadcast. They called her simply the traitor. No faces were shown except for the cold, alien officials who presided over the spectacle. Her crime was rebellion, a charge crafted from lies and fear. She had dared to spread messages of hope among the suppressed, spoken truths about freedom that the consortium's iron fist would not tolerate. She stood on a platform surrounded by darkened towers, the stage of her condemnation. Her hands were bound, her eyes clear and steady, defiant against the forces that sought to silence her forever. Across the countless star systems controlled by the consortium, millions watched on their screens, soldiers, civilians, rulers, and slaves alike. The broadcast was faceless, controlled, a weapon in itself designed to spread terror. The trial was a sham. The charges were fabricated, the witnesses coerced or silenced. Yet in the heart of that sterile chamber, she spoke, her voice unwavering. You may kill my body, but you cannot kill the spirit of freedom. You may burn our worlds, but you will never extinguish the hope we carry. Her words cut through the cold, mechanical voices of the judges and prosecutors like a blade of light. The consortium's leaders, shadowy, alien figures, showed no reaction, their faces hidden or unreadable. They had done this many times before, crushing dissent before it could grow. But the girl's courage was unexpected. It ignited a fire in those who watched, a dangerous ember of defiance. When the sentence was delivered, the broadcast shifted to the execution chamber. The instruments were clinical and impersonal, no fanfare, no mercy. The girl faced death as she had faced the court, unbroken. The final moments were brief but searing. She spoke no last words, but her eyes spoke volumes, anguish, resolve, and an unyielding refusal to submit. 7 minutes after her execution, the galaxy trembled. No one knew what had sparked it. No one sent a warning. Without a word, without a signal, the first planet under the consortium's control erupted in flames. Entire cities incinerated in moments. The fires spread rapidly, a silent purge that consumed planet after planet. Across Earth, the broadcast ended with her death, and people sat in stunned silence. Mothers held their children tighter. Soldiers stared blankly at the sky. Leaders clenched their fists in helpless fury. But humanity did not reply with speeches or threat. Instead, they waited, listened, and prepared. The weapon humanity unleashed was not a conventional fleet. It was a specter, an unseen force assembled in secret over decades. Protocol Nemesis, a last resort born of fear and foresight, activated without announcement. Silent, precise, lethal. Its mission was clear: to annihilate every consortium world without mercy or hesitation. The consortium scrambled. Their communication lines flooded with panic and confusion. Their leaders accused one another. Alien civilians rioted in terror as their homes burned without explanation. The galaxy's most powerful empire was unraveling at a speed no one had anticipated. On Earth, the people watched but said nothing. The silence was a statement. The girl's death had been a crime against all humanity, and the response was devastation delivered with cold certainty. The planets fell one by one. Orbital bombardments reduced cities to ash. Nanoweapons dismantled defenses from within. Black hole generators swallowed entire regions in darkness. The consortium's once mighty empire was collapsing under the weight of human retribution. No negotiations were accepted. No alien pleas for mercy were heard. The policy was clear. They had burned one of us. Now we burn all of you. The galaxy had witnessed the execution of a girl, but what followed was a reckoning far beyond what anyone could imagine. The firestorm was not just retaliation, It was a message to every oppressed world and every tyrant watching. Humanity would not be broken. Humanity would not forget. The consortium had believed themselves invincible, their cruelty unquestioned. They had misjudged humanity's depths. The girl had died, but her spirit burned brighter than any star, fueling a relentless purge that would echo through the cosmos for generations. Faceless and silent, the executioners had shown their cruelty. Humanity answered with fire and shadow, rewriting the rules of war and justice. The galaxy's balance had shifted, and nothing would ever be the same again. They thought humanity was weak, fractured, a primitive species easily subdued and controlled. The consortium had dismissed Earth and its people as emotional, unpredictable, and insignificant in the grand scheme of galactic power. But beneath the surface of everyday life on Earth, something far more terrifying had been silently prepared: a shadow fleet, hidden weapons, and protocols born of cold calculation and ruthless intent. The first planet to burn was just the beginning. Humanity's retaliation was swift, precise, and merciless. No grand declarations, no proclamations of war. Instead, entire worlds fell in silence. Orbital bombardments obliterated cities in seconds. Automated fleets, armed with kinetic strike weapons capable of punching through planetary shields, surged through enemy space. Each attack was surgical, targeting military installations, command centers, and industrial hubs, erasing the consortium's ability to respond effectively. Nanoweapons, designed to dismantle infrastructure and defenses from within, were unleashed. These invisible killers infiltrated factories, power grids, and communication arrays, spreading chaos and destruction faster than any conventional assault. Entire planets were rendered lifeless, their surfaces glowing with the fires of ruin. Across the consortium's territory, panic spread like wildfire. Alien populations once confident in their rulers' strength now questioned everything. Civilians rioted in the streets of once proud cities, desperate to understand the sudden and inexplicable onslaught. Consortium leaders convened emergency councils, their faces pale beneath ceremonial masks, scrambling to coordinate a defense that was slipping through their fingers. Messages of surrender and negotiation attempts were sent to Earth, but they went unanswered. The silence was deafening, a stark contrast to the blazing destruction unfolding across star systems. The consortium had underestimated humanity's resolve and their capacity for silent, devastating retribution. The fleet responsible for the devastation was a ghost, a Black Ops force built in secret over decades. Known only by the codename Nemesis, it had been humanity's last resort, a fail-safe in case the fragile peace ever shattered. Equipped with stealth technology, AI-assisted targeting systems, and weapons designed for maximum devastation with minimal exposure, Nemesis moved through enemy space like a shadow of death. No human faces appeared in the broadcasts, no politicians offered fiery speeches. The retaliation was cold, clinical, and methodical. Every strike was calculated, every planet chosen for strategic importance or symbolic value. Entire populations were extinguished, their cries swallowed by the void. As the Nemesis fleet progressed, the consortium's grip on its empire weakened. The destruction of key planets disrupted supply lines and communication networks. The once unshakable alliance began to fracture from within. Member species turned on each other, blaming failures and losses, desperate to salvage what little remained of their shattered domains. Attempts to organize counterattacks were met with limited success. The humans' strategic superiority and technological edge were overwhelming. The consortium's advanced fleets were caught off guard, outmaneuvered, and decimated. Each victory for humanity brought them closer to the heart of the enemy's empire. Some weaker species within the consortium sought to defect, offering their allegiance to humanity in hopes of survival. But the protocols were clear: no compromises, no negotiations. Those who tried to flee or surrender were hunted down and destroyed. The Nemesis program was absolute, retribution was total, and the price of crossing humanity was extinction. The burning of planets continued unabated. The skies over countless worlds glowed red as firestorms raged unchecked. The galaxy watched in horror as entire civilizations were wiped from existence. Broadcasts from surviving alien civilians leaked through hacked consortium channels, pleas for mercy, cries of despair, and frantic warnings that went unanswered. The consortium's desperation grew with every loss. Their leaders made reckless decisions, sending fleets to engage Nemesis forces in brutal battles. Yet, every engagement ended in defeat. The humans fought with cold efficiency, striking swiftly and disappearing before counterattacks could be mounted. Despite the destruction, humanity remained silent. No public declarations, no propaganda. The only message was in the devastation itself, a silent promise that this was the cost of their cruelty, the price for executing one girl. 7 minutes had passed since her death when the first planet burned. Now, months later, every system controlled by the consortium was ablaze or abandoned. Their empire was collapsing under the weight of human retribution. The human leadership, faceless and unreachable, coordinated the strikes with unyielding resolve. The world governments behind the scenes had united in purpose. Never again would humanity be humiliated or oppressed without consequence. The galaxy was witnessing a transformation. The once mighty consortium, feared and revered, was now a shattered collection of worlds lost to fire and silence. The lesson was clear and brutal. Humanity would defend itself and its own with a cold fury no enemy could withstand. And through it all, the memory of the girl lingered, not as a martyr, but as the catalyst of humanity's awakening. Her death was the spark that ignited a storm the galaxy would never forget. The fires would burn long after the last planet fell, a testament to the power that lies dormant in a species pushed too far, a warning etched in the ashes of a dying empire. The consortium was broken. Its vast empire, once a sprawling network of star systems ruled by iron will and ruthless authority, now lay in ruins. Desperation clung to the last surviving leaders like a shroud. They gathered in frantic councils, their voices raised in accusations and fear, but Earth said nothing. The silence was a weapon sharper than any blade. The offer was clear: complete surrender, unconditional capitulation. The consortium sought to save what remained, hoping to negotiate mercy and preserve fragments of their dominion. But humanity remained unmoved. No emissaries, no responses, no negotiations. Only cold silence. Alien worlds that had once been proud bastions of the consortium began to crumble. Systems once bustling with life became graveyards cloaked in eerie quiet. Refugees fled toward the fringes of known space, desperate to escape the inevitable. Yet the Black Ops fleets, the unseen reapers of humanity's wrath, hunted them relentlessly. There was no sanctuary, no safe harbor. Then, a single transmission pierced the void, a message from Earth, but not from any government or military leader. It was the girl's voice, recovered from the dark archives, broadcast across the shattered remnants of the consortium's network. Her words, defiant and unyielding, echoed through space. You burned one of us. You sought to extinguish hope. But you cannot kill what refuses to die. The message struck a chord across star systems, stirring fear, anger, and awe. It revealed the true cause behind the fires, the reason humanity unleashed such devastating force. The girl was not just a victim but the spark that ignited a relentless fury. Her death was a catalyst, her voice a call to arms. A flashback revealed moments of her childhood, soft laughter beneath Earth's skies, dreams of peace held close in her heart, the warmth of a father's hand. The contrast between those moments and the raging infernos consuming her oppressors was stark and haunting. Earth finally responded, not with threats or demands, but with a brief, solemn message. We are done speaking. You burned one of us, so we erased you. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, Earth withdrew. Communications went dark, networks fell silent, and the solar system faded into quiet isolation. The galaxy was left in stunned silence, watching a superpower withdraw behind a curtain of mystery and strength. Other species whispered legends of humanity's wrath, a warning that crossed into myth. "Cross the humans and you vanish," they said in fearful tones. Humanity returned to quiet existence, vigilant and silent. No further invasions, no expansion, no conquest. Just watchfulness. A dormant giant who had shown the universe what it meant to be truly crossed. Years later, a scavenger found a relic, a worn journal belonging to the girl. Its pages were filled with poetry, hopes for peace, dreams of unity, and love for the stars. The final line was a haunting testament: "If they ever hurt me, I hope humanity remembers who we are." The galaxy was forever changed. The girl's execution had sparked a chain of fire that burned through an empire. Humanity had spoken in silence and flame, leaving a legacy of power tempered by restraint. The message was clear: never underestimate the spirit that refuses to break, the resolve that answers cruelty with unyielding force. In the end, the story was not just about destruction but about the price of injustice, the cost of underestimating those you oppress, and the terrifying strength born from loss and love. The universe remembered, and so did humanity. The embers of the fallen worlds faded into memory, but the silence that followed spoke louder than any war cry. It was a silence filled with warning and promise: humanity would never be silent again. The aftermath was a galaxy reshaped by fire and silence. The consortium's collapse sent shockwaves across star systems, fracturing alliances and destabilizing economies. Yet humanity remained withdrawn, their silence an enigma that bred rumors and fear. The power vacuum left behind invited chaos. Warlords rose, factions battled, and planets struggled to find new order amidst the ashes. Humanity's withdrawal was deliberate. The destruction was complete, but they chose not to capitalize on the chaos. No territorial claims, no occupation forces, no puppet regimes. Instead, Earth focused inward, rebuilding, researching, and preparing for threats unseen. The silence was a strategic pause, a warning that the war was not over, merely shifted. Technology recovered from the consortium's shattered worlds, accelerated human progress. Weapons systems, energy sources, and starship designs were reverse-engineered, granting humanity an edge unseen before. Yet these advances were guarded jealously, kept from open eyes. Earth became a fortress of knowledge, a bastion of power hidden beneath a veil of peace. Across the stars, survivors of the consortium's defeat formed scattered enclaves, some seeking refuge in uncharted space, others forging uneasy alliances to resist further human wrath. The memory of the girl, the spark that ignited the war, became legend, a symbol of hope and vengeance intertwined. Stories spread in whispers, fueling resistance movements and inspiring those oppressed under other tyrannies. The galaxy's political landscape shifted. Without the consortium's iron fist, smaller powers scrambled for influence. Some sought peace, others war. Humanity remained aloof, sending no diplomats, no ambassadors. Their posture was clear: watch, wait, and prepare. Humanity's leaders understood the fragility of peace. The war had exposed vulnerabilities, how quickly a single act of cruelty could ignite a conflagration. They implemented strict protocols to prevent internal dissent and external threat. Surveillance was intensified, and loyalty became paramount. The cost of betrayal was death, swift and absolute. Meanwhile, underground networks thrived. Hackers, spies, and revolutionaries operated in shadows, exchanging information and technology. Some sought to learn from humanity's war, hoping to wield similar power. Others aimed to exploit the chaos to rise themselves. The galaxy's undercurrents churned with tension. Earth's silence was broken only by rare transmissions, coded messages, scientific broadcasts, and cryptic warnings. These signals stirred paranoia and speculation. Some believed humanity was preparing for another war, others thought they sought to protect fragile peace. The truth remained locked behind layers of secrecy. Meanwhile, remnants of the consortium's military forces reorganized, training in hidden bases and remote worlds. They awaited the day they might reclaim lost glory or seek vengeance. The shadow fleets humanity had unleashed were not infinite. The balance of power remained uncertain. In this tense standoff, the story of the girl was retold as a cautionary tale. Her execution was not forgotten, it was a lesson etched in blood and fire. The galaxy learned that cruelty has consequences, and that even the smallest spark can ignite a war that consumes empires. Humanity's silence spoke volumes. It was not weakness or fear but a calculated stance, a reminder that power was not only in destruction but in restraint. The lesson was clear. The galaxy would never again underestimate humanity's capacity for resolve and ruthlessness. Over decades, the legend grew. The girl's voice, once silenced, echoed in the hearts of freedom fighters, rebels, and those who dared dream of a better future. Her sacrifice had reshaped the universe, a testament to the cost of tyranny and the power of defiance. The galaxy waited, uneasy but vigilant. Humanity's shadow loomed large, a constant reminder that beneath the quiet lay a force capable of unimaginable fury. Peace was fragile, and the past's flames warned all who would dare threaten freedom or justice. In time, new alliances formed, tentative and wary. The balance of power shifted but never stabilized. The scars of war remained, burned planets, displaced peoples, and shattered dreams. Yet hope endured, carried forward by those who remembered the girl and the fire she had ignited. The story was not just about war or vengeance, but about the resilience of spirit and the unbreakable will to survive. Humanity had shown the galaxy that beneath silence can lie strength, and beneath destruction, the seed of rebirth. The future remained uncertain, but one truth was immutable: the execution of a single girl had changed everything. The galaxy would never forget, and humanity would never relent.